Hey everyone, and welcome back to Berkay Explores. You know, it's funny, sometimes the biggest stories, the most incredible insights into who we are, can come from the most unexpected places.
Absolutely, Berkay. And today we're talking about something you might literally just walk past without a second glance, a simple stone. But what if that stone could tell us a profound story about human ingenuity, about survival, and maybe even about the very beginnings of how we saw the world?
Exactly. It sounds almost like a movie plot, right? But we're diving deep into some truly mind-blowing archaeological finds today, from places called Jaljulia and Qesem Cave, just northeast of Tel Aviv. We're going way back, 400,000 years.
Picture this, folks. For almost 1,000,000 years, the main thing on the menu for early humans in the Levant region was megafauna. We're talking huge animals, especially elephants. Can you even imagine that? An elephant steak for dinner?
It's wild to think about. That was their life. Their entire ecosystem revolved around these giants. But then, around 400,000 years ago, the world started to change. The environment shifted.
And those massive elephants, they started to disappear, became much scarcer. So if you can't get your elephant fix anymore, what's next on the Stone Age takeaway menu?
It seems they shifted to fallow deer. These animals were thriving in the mixed woodlands of what we now call the Samarian Highlands. But here's the catch. Fallow deer are obviously much smaller than an elephant.
Precisely. Way less meat per kill. So to get enough food to survive, these early humans had to successfully hunt and, crucially, process many, many more deer. It wasn't just about finding a new animal. It was a whole new logistical challenge.
And that challenge, that need to adapt, sparked a brilliant innovation. And this brings us to the star of our show today, a little flint tool called the Quina Scraper. Sounds unassuming, right? Apparently smaller than your phone.
Don't let the size fool you. This wasn't just a sharper rock. It was a highly specialized piece of kit. Imagine it, a razor-sharp, kind of scalloped edge, and this unique, stepped, almost scale-like working edge with a really specific angle. They designed this thing with purpose.
So how do we even know what they were doing with it? Can you imagine them out there 400,000 years ago with this new gadget?
We can get pretty close. Scientists do this amazing thing called microscopic wear analysis. They look at the tiniest scratches and polishes on the edges of these ancient tools, and the patterns clearly show repeated actions, perfect for efficiently slicing through muscle, removing hide, getting sinew off the bone. Think of it like a specialized butcher's knife, perfectly designed for deer-sized animals.
That makes total sense. If you've suddenly got, say, 5 deer to process instead of 1 elephant, you need tools that work fast, right? Get the job done quickly, especially when you're out in the open, vulnerable to scavengers or other predators.
Exactly, and researchers even make copies of these tools and try them out. It's called experimental archaeology, and those experiments, they confirm just how effective these Quina scrapers were. Great for producing long, clean strips of hide, super useful for shelters, wrapping meat, maybe even early clothes. And they could be resharpened, making them a reliable, portable part of their toolkit.
So, a real technological leap, driven by the need for deer. But you hinted there was more to this story, something unexpected.
This is where it gets really fascinating, Berkay. It's not just about the tool's design, it's about where they got the stone to make it, the flint. The researchers looked at the flint used for these Quina scrapers from both sites, Jaljulia and Qesem Cave.
And was it just lying around?
Not at all. They were consistently bypassing closer flint sources. Instead, the flint was traced back to the western slopes of the Samarian Mountains. That's a journey of about 12.4 miles, roughly 20 kilometers.
20 kilometers? Just for stone? When there were closer options? Why on earth would they do that? There has to be a reason.
And here's the incredible connection they found. The Samarian Highlands, the exact same area where they were getting this specific high-quality flint, also happened to be a major calving ground for the fallow deer, their new primary food source.
Wait a minute, hold on. So they're traveling all that way to this specific mountain range to get both the best stone for their deer processing tools and the deer themselves? That can't be a coincidence.
It almost certainly isn't. The lead researchers Vlad Litov and Professor Ron Berkay from Tel Aviv University talk about a double connection. There's the practical side, of course. They needed better tools, and they probably learned that the best flint for making these specific scrapers came from those Samarian slopes. They knew where to get the good stuff.
Okay, that makes practical sense, but you said double connection. What's the other part? This feels like it's going deeper.
This is where it ventures into the minds of these early humans. The researchers suggest a potential symbolic link was forming. Imagine that specific place, the Samarian Mountains, and the vital resources found there, both the high-quality flint and the fallow deer that were keeping them alive.
So the mountains weren't just a quarry and a hunting ground. They might have started to mean something more, like the place itself became important.
Possibly even sacred. Think about it, the place that gives you the material to make the tool and the animal the tool is used for. It's such a powerful convergence. The researchers even suggest these mountains might have gained a prominent, perhaps even a sacred status in their worldview.
Wow, because everything they needed for this crucial part of their survival, their daily life, came from there. It's like the landscape itself wasn't just scenery, it was a provider, deeply, fundamentally connected to their existence.
Exactly. It imbues the location itself with significance. And this idea, this linking of a specific resource with a specific place, isn't unique. We see it later in human history. Think about famous obsidian quarries or rivers known for special stones like jade that held huge cultural value.
So these humble-looking flint scrapers are telling us a much bigger story than just how to butcher a deer. They're giving us a peek into how these early humans were starting to understand their world, to find meaning in it.
Definitely. Human technology didn't just evolve in a vacuum. It was tangled up with environmental changes, sure, but also potentially with their social lives, their imagination, their emerging symbolic understanding of the world around them.
It feels incredibly relevant, actually, especially when we think about environmental change today. Back then, the decline of a key species, the elephant, forced this huge adaptation and innovation. And it didn't just change their tools, it potentially reshaped how they saw and related to their entire landscape.
It's a profound lesson from deep time, isn't it? Innovation helps survival, absolutely. But it also changes culture, perception, maybe even the seeds of spirituality in ways you might not expect, like potentially making mountains sacred.
So when we look at these Quina Scrapers, we're not just seeing ancient tools. We're seeing signatures from the past. They're whispering to us about what these people valued, where they found sustenance, and crucially, how they were starting to make sense of the world around them, to give it deeper meaning.
It's a powerful reminder that even seemingly simple objects can hold these incredibly deep insights into who we are and how we got here, a tangible glimpse into cognitive and cultural shifts happening almost 500,000 years ago.
Absolutely incredible. It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? What are your thoughts on this, everyone? Does this discovery change how you pictured the lives of our early ancestors? Imagine standing on those Samarian slopes, knowing what you know now. Share your feelings in the comments below. We'd love to hear them.
And if you're as fascinated by these journeys into our shared past as we are, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations here on Berkay Explores.
Thanks for joining us on this trip back in time. Until the next adventure, keep exploring.